Fight fans, the MMA world is shaking right now. Rampage Jackson and his son, Raja, are at the center of a storm that refuses to calm down. What started as a heated altercation has exploded into one of the most controversial sagas in combat sports. Rampage is defending his son, critics are tearing him apart, and MMA Guru has somehow stepped right into the middle of the fire. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about one fight gone wrong. We're talking street justice threats, accusations of racism, old scandals being dragged back to life, and even comparisons to Jon Jones walking away from legal trouble. Add Dana White's jaw-dropping reaction to Nassourdine Imavov's physique, Colby Covington running his mouth at full speed, and Ben Askren's inspiring comeback. You've got a story that has fight fans glued to every update. But that's just the surface. Let's break this chaos down, piece by piece. It all started when Rampage Jackson, Rampage's son, found himself caught in a fight that spun way out of control. Fans didn't just watch, they pounced. Social media lit up with comments, some demanding justice, others calling out favoritism because of Raja's famous last name. Then came the comment that crossed a line. The cops won't get him, so it's time for street justice. That was no harmless remark. Rampage saw it, screenshot it, and fired back on Instagram. He wasn't just defending Raja, he was calling out the darkness in fans who wanted to take matters into their own hands. And Rampage wasn't done. He revealed something chilling. His family had been hit with racist attacks. Not just Raja, but his other kids were being targeted with vile messages. Rampage made it crystal clear. This wasn't about a single fight anymore. This was about protecting his family's safety and dignity. But if you thought that was the peak, you'd be wrong. Things were just heating up. Rampage took the fight public again, this time on live stream. He laid it all out. Raja had been concussed. The backstage environment was wild with drinking and reckless behavior. And Stu, the guy at the center of this mess, was the one who threw a beer can and triggered everything. Rampage admitted Raja wasn't perfect. Mistakes were made. But he insisted the chaos could have been avoided if not for one reckless move. And then he shifted his fury straight at MMA Guru. If you know MMA YouTube, you know MMA Guru. He's blunt, unapologetic, and doesn't hold back on anyone. But Rampage accused him of crossing the line, of racism, defamation, and twisting Rampage's past into a weapon against him. Guru had dragged out Rampage's 2008 arrest when Rampage went on a bizarre police chase that ended with multiple cars smashed and rumors of a miscarriage. For years, the details were murky. Guru pointed to that story as evidence of Rampage's reckless character. But Rampage wasn't having it. On stream, he shut it down hard. He said it wasn't a high-speed chase, that no miscarriage happened, and that the real punishment was 200 hours of community service, where he spoke to kids about mistakes and second chances. To Rampage, Guru wasn't reporting. He was attacking. And when Rampage called him an insecure guy with small energy, fans knew this feud had officially gone personal. But here's where it gets even messier. While Rampage and Guru traded shots, the legal system was working quietly in the background. And Big John McCarthy, former UFC referee and ex-LAPD officer, spelled it out. According to McCarthy, the LAPD isn't just going to shrug this off. They're building a case against Rampage Jackson, step-by-step, reports, detectives, district attorney reviews. Everything is being stacked to make sure the case is airtight. McCarthy even said, flat out, Raja might not be walking out on bail. That's when fans started asking the big question, will Raja's name protect him? Or is he about to face the full weight of the law? To add fuel to the fire, Jon Jones's name entered the conversation. And for good reason. Jones, one of the most controversial fighters in history, just had his hit-and-run case dropped. Prosecutors officially cleared him after evidence proved he wasn't even at the scene. The woman who accused him? According to Jones's lawyer, she was drunk, not wearing pants, and lied to avoid getting arrested herself. For Jones, it was vindication. For Raja, it was a comparison no one could ignore. Could Raja walk free like Jones? Or would his case take a darker turn? Fans couldn't help but speculate. Was Jones's sudden retirement earlier this year really about leaving MMA on his own terms? Or was it because of the legal nightmare hanging over his head? And now with his name cleared, Jones is already teasing a return, possibly at a UFC event on the White House lawn. If true, that would be one of the wildest comebacks in UFC history. But the MMA world never stays in one place for long. While Rampage and Jones dominated headlines, other fighters were stirring the pot. Lerone Murphy set his sights on Alexander Volkanovski. Confident, calm, and analytical, he claimed he'd already spotted weaknesses in the champ's game. His fight is slated for UFC 323 this December, and Murphy insists he'll exploit every hole he sees. Meanwhile, Volkanovski was busy pulling pranks. In one hilarious moment, he faked a neck injury during a playful grappling exchange with a fan. The guy's panic was priceless, and it showed a lighter side of the champ in the middle of all this chaos. But don't get too comfortable. The next chapter turns sharp. If you thought Colby Covington was going to stay quiet, think again. After Dylan Danis finally backed up his trash talk with a guillotine finish at Misfits 22, Colby tore him to pieces. He called Danis a bum, said even nightclub bouncers could beat him, and promised he'd never sniff a UFC contract. And then, in true Colby fashion, he pivoted to Tony Ferguson, mocking him, praising him, and then warning him to retire before he takes any more damage. But Colby wasn't just talking. He stepped into the ring with an influencer who made a career out of fighting fans. Within minutes, Colby dropped him with vicious body shots. The guy threw up after a liver shot, proving once again, you don't play fight with a UFC contender. Colby didn't just talk levels, he showed them. And then came the moment that had fans buzzing. Ahead of UFC Paris, Dana White shook hands with Nassourdine Imavov. His reaction? Priceless. Dana slapped Imavov on the shoulder, then admitted he felt like he was touching a piece of metal. That wasn't just hype. That was Dana White himself being stunned by a fighter's physique. Imavov's conditioning isn't just a look, it's a weapon. And if Dana White is this impressed, the UFC world better pay attention. Across camps worldwide, the grind is just as real. Islam Dulatov sharpening his boxing, Mauricio Ruffy going full beast mode, Charles Oliveira drilling takedowns and wrestling details that could make or break his next fight. The message was clear. Fight night glory is built in the shadows of the gym, And just when fans thought the week couldn't deliver more emotion, Ben Askren returned with an update that hit everyone in the heart. For months, fans worried if he'd ever recover after surgery. But Askren posted a video, jogging. For the first time since the operation, he was moving, smiling, pushing forward. The MMA community exploded with support. Comments poured in, praising him as a warrior, not just inside the cage, but in life. It was the perfect reminder that beyond the trash talk, beyond the scandals, fighters are human beings, battling battles the world rarely sees. So what do we make of all this? Rampage Jackson fighting to defend his son's honor. Raja's future hanging in the balance of a legal case. MMA Guru pouring gasoline on the fire. Jon Jones clearing his name, teasing an epic comeback. Colby Covington blasting anyone in sight. Dana White stunned by Imavov's steel physique. And Ben Askren proving that comebacks aren't just about belts, they're about life itself. MMA isn't just about fights inside the octagon. It's about controversies, redemption arcs, and moments that make fans stop and wonder what comes next. And here's the real question. Will Raja Jackson be crushed under the weight of the law, or will he find redemption like Jon Jones? Will Rampage's defense of his son tarnish his own legacy or prove his loyalty as a father? And when Jones returns, will he remind everyone why he's one of the greatest? Or prove that time and chaos eventually catch up to everyone? One thing is certain. In MMA, the only guarantee is that the story is never over. So fight fans, buckle up. Because if this week taught us anything, it's that in this sport, the line between downfall and redemption is razor thin. And the next chapter, it might just be the wildest one yet.